Jesse Southwell dummies. Jesse's going to score.
Doesn't pass the pub test, right? If you tell a regular fan about this, they're not going to think of all of the different machinations and what this might mean for Jesse. But you go, the Broncos getting another massive player in the game, it just doesn't feel right.
Welcome to the Show and Go, a Code Sports podcast dedicated to women's rugby league. Pamela Whaley is back. Pam, great to see you. You missed a big one last week because it was exclusively revealed on the Show and Go that Jesse Southwell is being sought out by none other than the Brisbane Broncos, and it's sort of taken off a little bit in the aftermath. Some are pretty cranky about it. Others north of the border are pretty pumped. How do you sit and where do you sit on this idea of her going to this star-studded team?
Yeah, well, it's such an interesting topic, isn't it? Because there's just so many things that you could talk about with this. But I think the one thing that strikes me is you can't knock a player like Jessie for wanting to do whatever she wants to do for her career. And we don't know if she's going to go to the Broncos, only that they are interested in getting her. And it is my personal feeling that she will end up there. But if she wants to go to Brisbane and link up with Tamika Upton again, link up with some of those amazing representative players in that kind of elite environment up there, then so be it. That's what the game provides for, and who is anyone to tell her no? The issue is that it doesn't pass the pub test, right? If you tell a regular fan about this, they're not going to think of all of the different machinations and what this might mean for Jesse. But you go, the Broncos getting another massive player in the game, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And we know that they are interested in her because Gail Broughton is not going to be there next year. She looks like she's returning to the Warriors, returning home to New Zealand. So there is some movement to be made in the Broncos squad, but just to another big name player on the market and the Broncos land her, it just, for the average fan, I don't think it feels right.
When they were foundation clubs and we were just at 4, we understood that those clubs would obviously be stacked with stars. And as the competition has grown, others have lost some players when the Broncos and, again, the Roosters seem to keep attracting the top line talent.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it's gotten to the point now where fans, this is it, like they're done. They're going to get a bit over seeing the best players, especially a Newcastle Knights local, someone that the Knights no doubt could see they could build their club around and success around, and who has had a huge impact on them this season. Yeah. You take her out of Newcastle next year, that's a huge void for them to fill. For the general fans who want to get hooked to NRLW, which we want more to do, you can understand that they'd be a bit, well, why would we follow a comp where it's just super obvious that we're going to get a Roosters Broncos potentially in the grand final? And that won't change next year if Jessie goes to Brisbane.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was just kind of emphasised further this week when the Roosters had a pretty big win over the Knights as well. And the Knights are sitting third on the ladder and looked like they could be the team, aside from the Broncos, who could really push the Roosters. And it was just another pretty good win for the Roosters. And it just, where's the intrigue in it? We're getting to round 8 now, and it just seems like the Roosters and Broncos are running away with it. And good on both of those clubs. They have put a lot of investment, a lot of energy, and kind of passion and time into developing the programs that they have.
But they're not developing local juniors.
True.
They're just handpicking all the best players in the game.
For sure.
And we know for a fact that every time a big star comes off contract at any club in the competition, they are on the phone to them and saying, do you want to come here? Which is their right.
Yeah.
But they're not developing.
No, they're not developing, but they have developed an environment where the elite players want to play.
Yeah.
And good on them for that. I think.
Yeah, but I guess there is a feeling that something could and should be done about that.
Yes.
Because you're going to have the Dragons continuing to develop, the local young guns in the Steelers catchment, and then potentially they, get to a certain point.
Yeah.
That puts pressure on them to continue to evolve their program, to have excellent coaching. All those things are great. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you've got 8 Jillaroos in a lineup, or 9 Jillaroos, whatever it is, some young girls are going to be very attracted to going and playing alongside those.
Well, you got
those
State
players.
of Origin stars on the bench.
Yes.
It's, and
it starts
there
to
are
feel
other clubs that have maybe 1 or 2. There are clubs that don't have any. So, Okay,
well, we talked about this last week with Tiana, and as a player, she can see it for what it is, the appeal of those 2 clubs, and it's frustrating. A draft probably wouldn't solve the problem. It's not going to stop Jesse from going to Brisbane. Yeah. Is it?
No.
Yeah. So where do you sit on that? Where do you sit on how this could actually be solved from next season onwards?
Yeah, so we have both spoken about the point system where it's just a certain number of representative players that you can have in your roster. What that doesn't fix, though, is the disadvantage of players then having to relocate for 5 months or whatever it is to be able to play for the same amount that someone can earn when they're at home. And they're the differences, but that's the price you pay for wanting to play the sport. And because it hasn't been that way from the start, it's been allowed for the girls to make that choice. But for the betterment of the competition and to make sure we have an even spread of talent, for now, it just feels like that's what they're going to have to do. Is somehow bring in a system where you cannot have 2 teams that harbour the biggest stars in the game. The Warriors will be a really good and interesting case to watch because they are going to have an incredible catchment of potentially New Zealand stars to choose from. So they could potentially over time be up there with those 2 Roosters Broncos teams. With getting Gale over there, potentially Mela Hufanga returning. But speaking of the Warriors and where they're at the moment, they've basically lost their 6 and 7. Emily Curtin gone for the season. We understand Malipo will be back next week, but was out on the weekend. And they've been connected to a fairly well-known half to pick up perhaps effective immediately. We're hearing that Maddie Studdon may be moving over to New Zealand, which would be a big pickup or an important pickup for Ronnie Griffiths as they look to try and make top 6. Yeah, well, huge for Maddie as well. So she obviously has played everywhere, all over this competition for a long time. She's been in the Dragons kind of reserve grade, I guess, competition this season, and then played 1 game of NRLW last week. Was that round 6, I think? And so that would be huge for her to be able to go and kind of continue her NRLW career. She isn't on
an NRLW contract with the Dragons. That was just a one-off game. They paid her for that game. So she's effectively a free agent. So I understand the Warriors were looking at bringing her there next year, but with the injuries, it looks like they would try and get her there sooner, which is a watch and see to see if it happens already this week or in the weeks to come. Now, for the Warriors, they're in a bit of hurt at the moment. Quite incredible that they were even in the game against the Raiders on the weekend. So the Raiders won. They got their first win of the season, but against an 11-player Warriors outfit. They made unwanted history on the weekend, didn't they, Pam? 2 send-offs.
Yeah, so, incredible that they were even close to the Raiders with this one. But, 2 send-offs in the first half. So we had Madikino Gray sent off with a spear tackle, and then Taisha Akanasio, she was sent off with a pretty bad hip drop tackle, for which Mona Lisa Soliola now is in a moon boot, so the Canberra
and on crutches,
centre, and on crutches. So obviously the hip drop tackles are super dangerous. We've seen so many of them across the NRLW, and that's another talking point. But both of those players were referred straight to the judiciary, so they will hear their case tomorrow night, Tuesday night. But whatever, the Warriors have a fair few injuries and outs and things like that at the moment as well. We had Michaela Brake, the winger, announce her pregnancy too, so obviously won't be playing for the rest of the season. And a couple of injuries in the halves too. So they're quite stretched, and they're sitting 6 on the ladder too. So they're pushing to make finals over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah. I feel like they're on that performance. When you've got 11 players on the field and you narrowly miss out on a victory, it feels like they can take a lot from that. It would have rattled them though. Like that spear tackle was pretty horrific to watch. It would have rattled the Raiders. And a hip drop. Feels like, tell me if I'm wrong, the tackle technique, and we're seeing a few crazy and really ugly tackles creep into the game as the season wears on.
Yeah, well, it's something the NRL, I know, is working so hard at trying to stamp out in the NRLW. In the last couple of years, they have worked really hard with sending out video training guides, examples, things like that to every club to try and just stamp this out, because there has been so many injuries caused by hip drop tackles in the last couple of seasons. It kind of started, I thought at the start of this season that it had dropped off a little bit, and maybe we were getting somewhere with some of the longer pre-seasons and more tackle technique training and things like that that's kind of getting drilled into the players over the years. But now towards the back end of the season, I think when you're seeing squad sizes really be pushed for depth, you're getting players in there who are less experienced, and probably not as up to date with the correct tackle techniques. They're getting fatigued and things like that, and it's starting to creep into the game a little bit more. Yeah.
Well, Martha Mataele, we had her on our show last week, and she actually said the Super Rugby season, like for all the rugby converts, the women's Super Rugby season, 6 rounds. So a lot of these girls have not played, the ones that have come across have not played. We're up to round 8 coming up now. You assume that everyone is feeling fabulous because, but by now, bodies are getting fatigued, and that's when, some
there's no buys as well.
Yeah.
Which is something that I hadn't actually thought of until last week. No buys, so they're working their normal jobs, training, and then playing every weekend. It would be exhausting. So come this point of the year, lots of fatigue. But
get ready, because we've got some exciting games to come, and the best part of the season as well. Just some great news and some relief for the Roosters and their fullback Corban Baxter. A big win for them against the Knights, but it was really concerning scenes, Pam, when she went down with what looked like it could be a recurrence of the same ACL that kept her out last year, but we're told that the ACL is intact. So that's great news. Whether or not there's other damage done, we don't know yet, but just a huge sigh of relief for her, for the club, for just fans of NRLW, because no one wanted to see her go through that kind of horrendous recovery again.
Everyone knows and loves Corban. She's just an absolute legend. So you could tell how afraid she was, I think, on the field as well, just she went through such a hard time trying to rehab that ACL. And so that's just great news.
Huge relief. Hopefully it's not long term, and that she can get back this season. Although really, do the Roosters need? No, I'm just joking. Of course they do. Corban, we want to see you back out there ASAP. I mentioned we had the Raiders finally get a win. Great result for them. And also the West Tigers were solid against the Dragons. So we have no winless teams. We'd love to see it. Those fans would be absolutely pumped after round 7. So let's preview your round 8 action. What are you most looking forward to with just a few weeks left of the comp?
Well, pretty pertinent timing that we had this Jesse Southwell chat, and it started to kind of hit mainstream this week. So the Knights play the Broncos this week. So it will be a huge game. That's in Newcastle. So the top 4 is starting to kind of settle in. We've got 4 rounds left, but that will be obviously a massive clash. And then this storyline will be a big kind of talking point coming into that game as well.
Warriors Sharks, also an enormous game. Sharks were tough in their win over the Titans. Warriors will be hurting after their loss, and they're at home again in Hamilton. But the big one for me is seeing how the Cowboys go this weekend. They play West Tigers on Sunday night. So if they see that the Knights lose to the Broncos, the Cowboys have the opportunity to move to outright third on the ladder. And they're my favourite team to watch at the moment, the way they're playing. And it's great to see. It's great for the game. We're talking about the Roosters and the Broncos being, by far and away the best, but they've been the rapid improvers this season.
They've just had so much strike and they're so exciting to watch. And you can see like Kira Deer back in the team as well. She's been great.
Yes.
Jakaya Whitfield at the back has just been enormous. She's so exciting to watch in attack, but some of her defensive efforts on the line, incredible.
Yeah.
I'm loving it at the moment.
Yeah, I love watching Tallulah Tillett, Kira Dib. They're all playing so well at the moment. All right, Pam, we haven't had this segment. We didn't have it last week because you weren't here, but make women's rugby league better. It's back and it's your turn.
Yeah, so last week I was talking to Keely Davis, who gave me this idea actually.
Oh, so you're stealing ideas now. Okay.
Well, I'm just amplifying hers. That we have the 2-point field goal in the men's game from 40 metres out. Why don't we have it in the women's game?
Do we not have that?
From 30 metres out.
Okay, so we don't even have the option for a 2-point field goal in the women's.
Let's bring it in.
Okay.
Wouldn't you love that?
Yeah, well, on the weekend there was that tight tussle between the Sharks and the Titans, and I thought Lauren Brown could go for a field goal.
There are a couple of players who do it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, bring that in. So did they have the option to take it from 40, or they don't even have that in the women's game?
I don't think they even have
it.
Yeah. There's nothing.
Introduce a rule. Okay.
Yeah.
How do we get this off the ground? Right now.
Who we have to speak to.
Who's the head of football?
We'll make some calls.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, make that happen. So that's pretty much it for the show. We've had plenty of people reach out around this Jesse Southwell story. It's obviously got fans talking. So please let us know your thoughts on that and anything else. Email code nrl@news.com.au or reach out to Pam or I on socials.
Yeah. Any questions, anything you want to know?
Yeah, any ideas for how the NRL could make it better and fairer for all, that would be great.
Yes.
All right, Pam, see you next week.
Thanks, Lara.